This is our practical video on transistorized monostable multivibrator. Okay, the aim is to study the transistorized monostable multivibrator. Okay, this is its circuits, and in this you will be one will be provided the built-in circuit like this. Okay, so in this what we need to do is, first we will like to do the connections. So we have to provide the VCC plus 12 VCC from here, and this is our ground. Okay, here your positive terminal, here negative terminal. Okay, so now what we need to do is, we have to also provide the trigger. So we have to connect the wave generator. Okay, we have to connect the wave generator through here and here. Okay, so here will be the red terminal, here will be the black terminal. So as we can see, we have connected the terminals of the wave generator over here like this, as per the requirement of the circuit. Now what we are going to do is, we will be connecting the CRO probes, that is X channel and Y channel. So now we have connected the CRO probes. This is our X channel, which is connected to the VC1. Okay, and this is the this is the Y channel, which is connected to the VC1. Okay, and this is the X channel, which is connected to the VC2 like this. So here it is written where it is VC2, where it is VB2, where is VC1, VB1, etc. Okay, so one can find easily the voltage of the respective terminal. So now what we have done is, we have connected the CRO probes over here, so that we can get the this type of trace, this type of graph over the CRO. This we need to trace on the graph paper. Okay, this we need to trace on the graph paper. So once again we will be seeing where is VC1 and VC2. So VC1 is from here to ground, it is VC1. Okay, and from here to here it is VC2. Now let us talk about VB1. So VB1 is from here to here, and VB2 is from here to here. Before connecting this circuit, okay, before go taking the reading, one of the observation we need to show to the examiner. So that observation is this one. Okay, this observation. So VC2 and VC1 we need to show, so for which we would be requiring DMM and banana pins respectively. On this we can see. Okay, now let us talk what is the trigger frequency we have need to provide. So it is around 200 to 300 we need to provide the trigger frequency over here, and its graph we would be getting over here. Okay, okay, trigger frequency we will be giving from here, and V1 and V2 we would be seeing from here respectively. To show this table, what the thing which we show this thing on and off of the Q1 and Q2, what we need to do is, we have to ground the VB2. Okay, VB2 we need to ground like this, and we have to connect the terminals of the DMM to VC2. Okay, and from here, if the value of one transistor, suppose this Q2 transistor is high, that means Q2 is off. Okay, and if the value of one transistor is low, let us suppose that this transistor value is low, then this transistor is on. Okay, now what we have done is, we have connected the VB1 to the ground. Okay, and we have taken the terminals from the DMM, and we have connected like this. Okay, okay, so we can see it is at a high voltage. Okay, it is at the high voltage. This shows that Q1 is off and Q2 is working. because as we can see here the voltage which we are getting is high, as because this transistor is not utilizing its voltage, and we have directly done the ground over here like this. So definitely we would be getting here directly VCC which we have been provided from here. Okay, so this clearly states that by grounding this, the Q1 will be off and Q2 would be on, and vice versa we can show them. So if we have connected, we have to show that this is working and this is off, then its work could be defined like this. So what we need to do is we need to connect the terminal of the DMM over here, and we could see that it is approximately equal to 0. Okay, due to the flickeriness of the DMM, an internal technical fault, we are getting such reading, but it is quite nearer to 0, and since this transistor is 0, that means it is on and it is working. Thank you. Similarly, we have to take the readings for VC2, VC1, and then for in actual practice what we are getting VC1 and VC2, here we get 8.4 and 3.4 respectively. So now let us see how we would be taking the readings. So taking the reading is quite simpler. There are 3 capacitors provided, because as per the circuit we can see that it is variable resistance, variable capacitor. That means it could vary. So yes, we could vary like this, okay, from here to here. So let us see for 0.1 what the desired time period we are getting. So here we have taken the VC1 and VC2. okay, so we would be checking the pulse width. Okay, so the pulse width would be only this much. Okay, this one is only the pulse width, so it is approximately equal to what, 1. Okay, 1.2 or 1. okay, it's 1. So hence we can see from here for 0.1 capacitor, okay, 0.1 microfarad, the time period, or the time of the pulse is 1 ms, and calculated is 1.54. so it is quite approximate. So now let us check for different capacitors. So for this